Hi, welcome to the show. I'm called Tony McNaboe, and therefore, that's kind of what my show is called as well. So here we are. I wanted to wait until like midweek this week to do this episode because, like I said in the past episode, I was going to see Andy Schaaf, and I wanted to see that concert and then come back and talk to you about how that was. Well, the thing is, another thing I talked about in the last episode was my head and how I've been feeling and how I've been feeling better as of late and everything else. Well, I woke up Tuesday morning, the day that Andy Schaaf was in town, and I have no fucking idea what happened. I have no idea what happened. Just for one day, I rolled back like 4 or 5 weeks, and about an hour into my day on Tuesday, I got this massive like halo kind of headache, and my fucking brain activity just slowed down to like a fucking coma. Like you're conscious, but your brain activity is not following anything at all. It's just like you're literally walking through the day like a zombie. The entire fucking like every hour of the day gets away from you. I didn't know what was going on. I was confused. Like everything was fucked up. So I ended up not going to the show. I relinquished my chance to go to that. I think I was probably better off just not going to a concert that night for whatever reason. And then the next day I woke up and I was cool. Like everything's fine again now. It was just one day this week, and it happened to be the day of the Andy Schaaf concert. So unfortunately, I don't have anything to report to you on that other than what I heard from my friends, which was that obviously like the band was like super fucking solid, and more importantly that he played a bunch of new shit. And the new stuff apparently is really, really fucking good, and that I and maybe you and we should all be like really stoked on this next Andy Schaaf record. But that's really all I've got for you. But we've got another band to talk about today anyways, so that's just as well. And so we're going to get into that. Now here I am. It's the day after Valentine's Day. It's fucking awful, 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 cruel, insensitive fucking holiday that all of you fucking guys have, Valentine's Day. Got through that, felt fine. So what did I do? I fucking did the same thing I do every year on Valentine's Day. I take myself out for a nice dinner. Usually I just get myself a sandwich, eat it in my car while I listen to talk radio. And then I get myself real drunk on cheap fucking beer. And the thing about that is that that's actually a luxury to me. See, I'm lucky enough where like I love fucking PBR. I love PBR and Schlitz and fucking hams and all that shit. Like and like if you lined up every fucking beer in the whole entire world, every single different vessel that it could come in, no matter what, I will always pick a cold 16-ounce can of PBR out of any fucking lineup. I just like it. And as for Schlitz, I think that that's marketing genius. Whenever they came up with that, Schlitz is the only fucking beer. It is the only fucking booze in the world that exists that actually never gets any harder to say, no matter how fucking many of them you have. Try that. Try having 10 or 11, 12, 13 Budweisers and trying to order a fucking Budweiser. You'll get shut off. The Schlitz is like the fucking Trojan horse of beers. You will never be shut off at a bar if all you drink is Schlitz, because you can have 17 of them and you can still order another one. It never gets fucking harder to say. So anyway, there I am. I have a nice ham sandwich in my car, listen to the fucking talk radio, and I start thinking about my good qualities. You know, I talk to myself a little bit. You know, just sort of like little reassurances and affirmations and things like that. Then once I'm drunk in a parking lot of a Home Depot, I get some nice headphones on, and I, rub my knee a little bit, and then I put on The Greatest Love of All, and I jerk off to naked pictures of myself. And I know that sounds weird, but the thing is, once you get past the part about the children, then it actually gets pretty hot. Now the tricky thing is that the part about the children and teaching them well and all that stuff, that actually happens twice, and one of them is right in the middle of the song, and that's the point where like you really need to get on, like you got to focus on what you're doing. You've got to really get on some Pledge of Allegiance type shit, because if you're not careful at that point, you start thinking about children, and believe me, you don't want to start thinking about children while you're jerking off. It really it gets real fucked up. So you want to avoid that at all costs, and then ultimately the song ends hopefully about the same time as you, and then the big thing is that as soon as you're done, like the second you're fucking done, you need to fucking get cleaned up and you need to change the subject fast. You need to stop thinking about anything, because that thing right after you just got done jerking off to pictures of your own dick and you're like, fuck, I shouldn't have done that. Like I feel all fucked up now and this is all weird. And then that, I'm telling you, that goes into this cycle of like, you start thinking about all the weird shit. Like, this is why I'm fucking alone every year. And then that can manifest itself into a lot of different shit if you're not careful. You start thinking, this is one of the like 5 days out of the year that people like me who just stay fucking single as a rule. No, well, don't let me fool you. It's also because of a innate inability to satisfy a healthy relationship. That's got a lot to do with that. That's a big part of it. What'll really hurt you in a relationship is hating fucking sharing a bed with somebody, hating sleeping with somebody else. That'll fuck you up. And another thing that really gets in the way is when you fucking hate being touched. You don't like intimacy at all. You don't like people fucking being in your bubble. I have a serious fucking problem with people in my bubble. I don't like close talking. I don't like fucking soft talking. I don't like the fucking, I don't like anything about other people being around me most of the time. And so that'll hurt you. And so you get thinking about all these things. Next thing you know, you're fucking driving around drunk. You're fucking depressed and you feel like an asshole, and you're listening to fucking A Man I'll Never Be by Boston. You're fucking crying and you realize you probably should get off the road and you shouldn't be driving. So you know how you pull into a fucking Chili's and you just crawl in the back seat and you just try to fucking sleep it off for a minute. And then, next thing you know, like it's been a few hours, but next thing you know, it's like you hear like, you got to move your car. You gotta move your car. You gotta move your car. Move your car. You gotta move your car, and you're waking up and you're like, what the fuck? And you don't know what's going on. You don't know where the fuck you are anymore. And then you start to realize that you don't know where you are still, but you realize that you're somewhere you shouldn't be. So you turn into the most fucking polite person you've ever been in your life. And you roll down the back window. You say, I'm really, really sorry. I'm very sorry. I just needed to sleep it off for a little bit. I'll move as quickly as I can. And then this guy's he just stands outside your window. You know how that happens? Like, he just fucking stands there. It's like, you kind of want to be like, can you give me a little bit of privacy? I got to like fucking stretch my legs out. I've been curled up in a fetal position in a fucking ball for, I don't even know what time it is. But he just stands there and watches you. And then you have to do that, how like you have to do that really shameful thing where you have to crawl back into the driver's seat and put your shoes back on that are laying underneath the steering wheel, and that takes you a little bit of time, and your car's all fucking frozen up because you live in Maine and it's February, so you got fucking frost all over your windows, so you have to run your car for a minute and let the windows defrost and heat everything up, and meanwhile this asshole is still you don't even know who he is. You don't even know anymore if you actually have to move your car or not. Now you're pissed at the guy. Now your instinct at this point now is to roll down your window and go, hey, you know what? By the way, who the fuck are you? And why the fuck do I have to move my car? I'm in a fucking parking lot that holds 150 fucking cars and I have to move mine. It's not snowing. Who the fuck are you? But you don't. You just put your shoes on, you let your car warm up a little bit, you sit there and you fucking whisper under your breath, who is this motherfucker? Fuck this shit. Fuck this fucking holiday. Fuck this. And you fucking drive your car, and then you look at your phone, finally you realize that it's like 4:30, maybe close to 5 o'clock in the morning, right? You know what I mean? And then, so you just say, well, fuck it, I got this part-time job at this office, and I'll just drive around for 2 hours. And if I show up at 7 o'clock, that won't be suspicious. If I go there now, everybody's going to be on to me. If I go there in an hour even, they'll be like, what are you doing here so early? So you wait till 7 o'clock, you go into the office, you go down to your desk, and you know what you do? You fucking get back to work. You fucking just get back to your fucking miserable fucking life. And you know what happens pretty quickly? You forget. Like within the first couple hours of that next day, you forget that it was Valentine's Day, and you forget how fucking lonely and fucking like intimately fucking inept you are. It just goes back to, like, again, those other like 360 some odd days of the year where you don't think about it. You know, you go upstairs and make a cup of coffee and crack a joke with somebody, and then you're right back at it, chipper old self again. You go downstairs and you order a fucking air handling unit for a giant fucking remodel of a fucking high school in some shit town 30 miles away from you, and you just get back to life. Right? So that's how you deal with Valentine's Day. That's how I spend Valentine's Day. And you know what? It's not so bad. So anyway, I hope you all had a fucking good time, you bunch of fucking selfish motherfuckers, you bunch of assholes. You never think about us, do you? You just go out with your fucking girlfriend or your boyfriend and whatever the fuck you've got. You don't think about any of it. You don't think about all the rest of us that have to sit around and watch these fucking commercials. 2-for-1 fucking meals tonight. Come on down with your sweetie pie. 2-for-1 half-price movie tickets tonight. Oh, I love movies. I'll go to the movies. That's how I'll forget everything. You get there like, oh, no, you have to be that's just for 2 people minimum. You have to be a couple. Right? I have to sit and watch fucking hockey games for 3 weeks. Every time I try to watch the goddamn Bruins, I have to see some fucking commercial for a jeweler or some shit like that. You don't think about any of the rest of us, you motherfuckers. You know what? Why don't you just take it a step further? Why don't we add another fucking holiday to the calendar year? Let's think of another group of people who, here, let's do this. Let's play a little game. Let's think of a group of people who, didn't really do anything wrong. Okay. They never made fucking bad decisions that like led them into something or another. They were sort of born some way, or something happened in their life that developed some sort of like little fucking glitch in their brain where they're just kind of like not able to do some of the things that the rest. Here we go. Yes. Let's have a holiday. Let's have a fucking holiday for able-bodied people. Okay? We'll just celebrate the fact that we're not handicapped. It's perfect. Okay, let's do that. We'll call it Able Body Day. Okay, and we all go and we fucking do shit that we're just so fucking glad we can do. And that, you know, like here's this guy in a wheelchair, or this guy who, you know, got his legs fucking blown off or something while he was over fighting a fucking war for the rest of us, trying to save our fucking lives. And that poor motherfucker can sit there and watch the same Bruins games I'm watching, but he gets to see these commercials for like, come on down to Shoetown. I know all that walking around you've been doing all year has been wearing down those shoes. It looks like you better get some new shoes for the able-bodied parade. And come on down. It's 25% off for people who can walk. As long as you can walk, you can come down and get 25% off your shoes. And all day long, these poor motherfuckers have to be looking at their Facebook profiles and Instagram, and all the rest of us are waking up and taking pictures of our fucking feet and our legs and writing, "You've made me the luckiest man alive." I can't believe I get to wake up to these things every day, these fucking legs, these feet. And then we all go to the able-bodied parade You know, I'm down in Boston in Kenmore Square walking in the fucking able bodied parade. I roll, I stop up to see Travis Roy just because I'm in the neighborhood, just thought I'd say hi. And well, he says, "Oh, what are you doing? I don't have any plans tonight or anything like that. What are you?" And well, actually, no, Trav, sorry. Me and Jimmy and Sally and Ted, like we're actually gonna go for a bike ride. So I don't know if that's going to work out for you. And then, well, that's cool. Well, why don't you, after dinner, why don't you get in touch? Maybe we can like get out for a beer later or something. And it's like, well, actually, it's half off go-karts tonight. So we're going to go ride go-karts and go for a swim too at our hotel. We're gonna celebrate by going swimming all night. It's gonna be so nice. You wouldn't believe the fucking water at this hotel. It's fucking perfect, Travis. It is like being in the fucking womb. It's incredible. We just go swimming around, and then, and plus, I'm also really tired because we played soccer all morning long, and my legs are kind of killing me, and I don't think I'm going to really want to walk all the way back here, although I'll tell you what, I could, if I wanted to, but anyway, I'll tell you what, Trav, I'll just call you tomorrow, buddy. That's a good holiday, isn't it? Let's have fucking able-bodied day. You assholes. That's what it's like. That's what it's like. Fucking Valentine's Day. Fuck this shit. What am I even talking about? Why am I even fucking... What am I doing right now? What am I here to talk about? Where was I? Yes, this band. So, little backstory first. I moved out to LA in 2010. Well, I didn't move like I packed up a Ryder truck and a bunch of fucking couches and a flat screen TV and bought a house, and I didn't move in that respect, but I went out there. I had been playing in this band, Rustic Overtones, for my whole life. Those guys were my brothers. They are my family, and we were together from 93 up to I don't know, about 2003. And then we got caught up in a bunch of the shit in the industry. Remember when the industry turned to digital music and all the labels started fucking collapsing, and we were signed to Arista Records and Clive Davis got fucking... It's a long story. I'll tell that some other time. All right. And then we all kind of took a knee for a few years. We just were like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to do some other shit. So the singer and bass player, they went off and started this group called Paranoid Social Club. That was a fucking great group. Is still a great group. And I spent a little time playing with them as well. But also in that downtime, that was when I was out with Ray LaMontagne, playing with him. Zoidis, our saxophone player, went back to, playing with all the guys from Berkeley that he went to college with, which eventually became Lettuce again. Lettuce reformed. And those guys obviously are out there just fucking murdering everything right now. And we all just kind of branched off and did different things. And then in 2006, we got back together again. We made a couple more records, and I just kind of reached a point where, I got accustomed to touring and being gone, and Rustic had kind of become a thing that was sort of it was happening on the weekends and stuff like that. Guys had started families. Guys wanted to be home a little bit more, and that's all well and good. It's just that I wanted to be doing a little bit more shit. So, I decided to leave and go to LA. And that was a really fucking hard decision. It was also a terrifying... It wasn't like I was like, hey, I'm out of here, I'm going to LA, and I left town with both middle fingers in the air. It wasn't like that at all. It was a very difficult decision to make. I made it with those guys. We did it very amicably. And as a result, they remain my closest fucking friends in the world. And I'm very grateful for that. So I went out to LA and I was like, I want to do more touring stuff. I want to do more session stuff. And ultimately I want to get into songwriting and publishing and stuff like that. And so that was sort of my goal. I could spend a bunch of time talking about all the fucking shit that happened in the middle. But ultimately I did end up just getting out there and getting a publishing deal. To some degree, the plan sort of worked. And, I didn't have any of those moments in LA where I met or hung out with any really famous people. I guess like to sort of keep with the flow of the subject here that I'm trying to get to in this episode. So like I said, I did end up getting this publishing deal. Okay. And my publisher, the guy who gave me the deal, the guy who signed me, for the sake of his own privacy, we'll just call him Jamie. Okay. We'll pretend his name was Jamie. And, Jamie was like a brother of mine. Like Jamie was also from back in the Northeast. He was one of the first people to sit me down when I got to Los Angeles and say, look, you need to smooth your edges a little bit. You need to fucking cool it a little bit because we act and talk a certain way back east. And here people really don't like that. And I'm like, what the fuck is that supposed to mean? What? And he's like, well, just things are a little bit more laid back. They move a little bit more slowly. They talk a little bit more slowly. And people kind of don't like the fucking like Boston, like the Northeast attitude. So I don't know that I ever got that or not. I don't know that that ever sunk in. In fact, I can tell you for sure that it did not. But I got this deal, okay? And Jamie became an even closer friend of mine. I met Jamie when I was out with Ray. At the time, he owned Ray's Publishing. He was Ray's publisher. I met him at a show when we played in LA, and he and I just like bonded instantly, talking about the fucking Pats and the Bruins and the Red Sox and music. And he liked some of the music that I had made prior to that. And so we just over the years stayed close, and I stayed in contact with him. And so I got out there, and eventually this all happened, right? So that's important because this other person who lived in Los Angeles, okay, now let's see, how can I tell this story? Should I tell this story? I have to. So there's this woman who I have been like, I don't want to like, I love this woman. I can't say who it is. You'll understand in a little while. But ever since I was probably 17 or 18 years old, I crushed on this girl. She was a singer in a band, and I saw her band for the first time, again, when I was like 17 or 18 years old, and fucking just fell in love. Loved her band, loved her music. Like, it was a rock band. She had like this super like, you know, punk rock kind of like, I mean, like, okay, so fuck it. So like, she was also from back east, like sort of where Jamie and I were from, okay? And she was a big New England sports fan. She had tattoos. She drank fucking Bud bottles. She chain smoked. I think she probably could fight. She probably would beat me up, not saying much, but she'd probably beat me up in a fight. And also just happened to be beautiful. So as I was out there, right, part of the whole thing of going to LA was like taking big swings on things. And so one day it just crossed my mind, like, she lives out here now too. And maybe there's a chance that I, you know, could run into her or something like that. Like, who knows? Maybe we'd get talking and we'd fall in love. Who knows? You know, who fucking knows? So I'm sitting outside that night of my apartment. I lived in Huntington Beach. I didn't want to live up in LA. It's too fucking crazy up there. I liked it down in Orange County. I liked that vibe a little bit more. It's a little bit more blue collar. You could find some more dive bars. You'd have at least half a dozen fewer helicopters circling around your fucking building every night, shining a fucking spotlight through your bedroom window and in your backyard and everything else. So I liked it down in Huntington Beach a lot. So I was living down there. I was out on my back porch, and I was watching this video of her new band that she was doing out in LA. And, you know, part of that video, there was like a hyperlink to like the making of, like, go watch the bloopers and making of this video. So I watched that. And before that, as I was watching the video, I noticed that the whole video was being filmed in a house. And I wondered to myself, like, I wonder if that's maybe her house or whatever. I don't know. You know, I'm just like, my brain's kind of wandering, you know. And so I watched this sort of like making of the video, and it starts with one of the people that were involved in it saying, hey, we're at so-and-so's house today in Studio City. getting ready to film our new video. And I thought to myself, Studio City, I go to Studio City all the time. Studio City was probably my favorite part of Los Angeles. Like, if I could have, I would have lived in Studio City. That fucking part of LA fucking rules. And so I was in Studio City a lot. Already, I had a great friend, Davey, who lived there. We played some music, and I was in Studio City quite a bit. So I thought to myself, like, geez, she's in Studio City. That's weird. Like, I'm there all the time. Maybe I'll run into her. And then as this guy's talking, I noticed over his shoulder, there was like this series of numbers that were screwed into the side of the house. And a weird thing happened. My brain just went my brain fucking flipped, like, wait a second. And I did something that I've never done before, and I felt something that I had never felt before. And what I thought was happening was love. I thought, this is it. For the first time ever, I'm feeling love. And now I know what it's like. This is love. And so I did something that I thought was a complete act of love and affection for a person, of desire, romantic. Okay? I'd later tell this story to Jamie, and he used different words. He used words like psychotic and criminal. I think he said criminal. Was one of the other words he used. And I said, Jamie, I want to tell you something that happened that's really great. Probably the best thing that's happened to me yet in Los Angeles. And I told him this story, and he got up from his desk. He closed the door to his office, and then he sat like on the front of his desk, right in front of me. Like, he didn't go back and sit in his chair. He sat on the front of his desk right in front of me, like with like one kind of leg up, hand on his thigh, and he looked me straight in the eye and he said, I don't want to know anything else about this. Stop doing whatever it is that you're doing, and never, ever, ever tell this story to anybody else as long as you live. And I said, okay. So I didn't understand what he was saying. I was like, I'm in love here, Jamie. Like, I came to you with this. I thought I wanted you to support me. I needed you, but okay, I'll take your advice. You're the guy who knows everything out here, so I'm going to take your advice. And so now I couldn't see into the future at that time. So I didn't know that 5 years later I'd have a podcast and I'd be about to tell this story to everybody who listens to my podcast. But anyway, that's what I'm about to do. So I see these numbers screwed on our house, and, my love-stricken heart takes over. And so I Googled the name of this person, the numbers on the house, and Studio City, California. Sure enough, boom, there's her address. Came up. Now, it just so happened that I was going to be going to Studio City the next morning anyways, because I was going to go over to Davey's house. I was going to see if he wanted to have coffee, right? And so I just, I started. Also, Jamie's office was in Sherman Oaks, which is right next to Studio City. So I was up there a lot. So I started this little trend of I'd drive through her neighborhood every now and then, just, cruise by her house and see if maybe she was, maybe she'd be out watering the lawn or something like that. The big thing was like, all I wanted, I was trying to figure out my way around LA. I thought to myself, like, maybe if she happens to come out, get in her car and go somewhere, it'll just happen to be like, I need to go to the same exact place, and I also happen to need something from the same exact aisle as her or something like that. Or more importantly, she probably knows the good bars in town. So all I want to do is find out what bar she goes to, and then I can start going there, because not only will I probably like the bar, but hey, I'll get talking to her probably, who knows, maybe. And then, the rest is history. I don't know. But so that never happened. And so I eventually, as I told Jamie, I said, I parked one day across the street from her house. And I thought to myself, and this is love. This is love. And I thought to myself, I got two options in this situation. One, I got this Snapple bottle in my passenger seat. I can open my driver's side door and I can break that bottle on the road and grab a shard of glass and cut my fucking arm, cut something where I won't mind having a bad scar for the rest of my life. Cut like straight up my arm, maybe my torso or my thigh or something like that. Just cut somewhere real deep, real bad. Get myself bleeding real good, right? And then I can run up to her door and be like, oh my gosh, I broke this bottle and I'm bleeding, and then she'll have to just start being like, oh, I can help you, and she'll say, get in my kitchen. I'll go in her kitchen, she'll wrap a towel around me, and then she'll be like, hey, isn't that a Red Sox hat? And we can start, we'll just start talking about fucking Pedro, right? And fucking 2001 and the fucking World Series and fucking Schilling and the bloody sock. And next thing you know, one thing leads to another, bada bing, like we're just in her kitchen talking. I'm like, my arm doesn't feel that bad after all. You want to go get a beer or something? And then, again, the rest is history. So that's one option. The other option I'm thinking might be more effective. It won't hurt me as much. And it also, so I thought, okay, I can either cut myself real bad, run to her door like I need help, or I can start her house on fire. And before it gets real bad, I can be the first guy in the neighborhood that happened to see it. And I run to her door and I say, knock on the door, knock, hey, your house is burning down. And I run in and I save her and her children from their burning house. And she goes, and it's, like my hero, right? And then again, like, by the way, is that a Red Sox hat? We talk, Pedro, oh, that's so weird. My friend lives down in Manhattan Beach. He lives right in the same neighborhood as Nomar Garcia Parra. We go and we get drunk at this bar, the Shellback. I go, I stand outside of Nomar's house all the time. I just yell to him, Noma, just come outside, kid. I just want to talk to you. He never does. He never did. That's a true story. I used to stand outside Nomar Garcia Parra's house and yell his name. And so I save her and her children from this burning house, and then happily ever after. So I told that to Jamie, and then that's when he talked very sternly to me. That I never tell that story ever again to anybody. So there it is. There you go. I never met her, by the way. I hope someday I do still. Maybe, maybe she'll hear this and think that it was just the most romantic thing she's ever heard. I'm not sure where that's all going to go. I might get arrested and then that's the end of this fucking podcast. Who knows? But look, the thing is, I didn't fucking burn her house down. All right? That's the important thing. I said before about how, like, I never get fucking credit for not doing some dumb shit when I could have. I don't get any credit. People just yell at me about thinking about doing something. All I did was think about doing something dumb. You can't get mad at me for that. I didn't do it. Anyway, so that never happened, and I'll never say who that person was. But no, that's all I'm going to say. I'm getting out of this. After, I'm sitting here now and I'm editing this whole thing and I'm listening back through the stuff. And originally my idea was to, just to keep going. And then this would really end up being like an hour and 20-minute episode. I think this is a good place just to put this one down. Okay. We've had ourselves a nice little episode about love. And all of the wondrous, beautiful, and magical things that it can cause a person to do. And, maybe that's a nice thing to have here. So I'm just going to put this down right here, okay? And I hope it's inspired you. I hope that maybe it's comforted you. And, all of those things. So this does continue going, and so I'm just going to make that the next episode. So you can switch right over, and the whole subject changes completely. And I'm going to continue talking about my little journey with my friend Jamie out in Los Angeles, and that's going to lead us to finally talking about this band, who I think are the most important rock band in America right now, and how they may be the antidote for who I consider to be the worst rock band in America right now. So that's all coming up next. And I hope you'll switch over and listen to that. And I also hope that you all one day get to experience love so deeply that it turns you into a complete psychopath. And that's all. Okay, and please remember not to take everything I say literally. I've had a couple people that have come up to me a couple of times and been actually like really concerned about things that I say on my podcast. Lighten up. We're just, having some fun here. So I'm not saying that everything in this episode didn't actually happen literally, but anyway, so that's all. Okay, hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for coming around, and I'll be switching right over and be posting both these at the same time. So I'll talk to you again very soon. Okay, take care of yourselves, everybody, and be cool. All right, bye.